I always love hearing your voices. Can we get a little Kid Goku? I merged, I guess, Goku and Gohan together.
I'm Goku, and I'm always hungry, so feed me. And Gohan, you've got to be strong and fight and be tough always.
I love that you're just so ready to do the voices all the time.
Oh, and here's Koi. Oh, my. And Baby Trunks.
I have never heard your version of the story of how you booked Trunks initially.
So I was going to college for acting. I was a theater major up at the University of North Texas in Denton, Texas. It was right about the time that I got an audition at Funimation. Tiffany Vollmer, who was playing Bulma at the time, was a friend of mine from the theater department. We were in school together, and one night she came to the pizza place that I was delivering pizzas at. We just happened to cross paths, and she was like, "Hey, I'm doing this job. You should audition for them at some point." I was like, "Okay, great." Got the number, called the studio, got an audition, and didn't hear from them for a little while. I went in, auditioned, they weren't casting anything, and then a few weeks went by, I think, and then all of a sudden I got an urgent call from Chris Sabat, who was casting Trunks, and he was like, "Listen, I've run through a whole bunch of auditions, I really need this role cast, would you come in for an audition?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I did, and by the time I got back to my apartment, I had the role, and I started work the next day.
But let's hear some ChiChi and let's hear Goku, like hear you yell, "Goku." I love this.
All right. Goku! It's so pretty. It's so delightful.
So pretty. It makes you cough.
It does. It does. It hits because she doesn't scream Goku. Like it's in that part of your throat where it's weird. It gets weird and tickly.
Yes.
So,
well, I know. And then,
Goku! I mean, I don't know. That was not in my audition. So,
yes.
So I was told to listen to all the female roles and try to mimic as closely as I could their voice, because I didn't want it to be like a huge change. And so I did. And the funny thing to me about that is not one of the voices that I did for ChiChi were her yelling, screaming, throwing a fit, any of that. It was just like, "Oh, well, boys will be boys," which is not anything that I've ever recorded.
I know, that's crazy to me, because we should say, like, this is my second interview with you, and I loved that story, that there was not a single line that you did where you were yelling. That's crazy.
Yeah, none of that nonsense. And then on my 30th birthday, I'm going to date myself here.
Okay.
I played my answering machine, and there was Chris Sabat's voice going, "You've been cast in the role of ChiChi."
Wow. Best birthday present ever.
I went running through my apartment screaming.
Speaking of saying lines, will you say a line in Bulma's voice?
I will, but you have to give me which one you want to hear.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. You've got so many.
You jerk! I mean, my brother was sitting at a baseball game in Sioux City, Iowa, and he heard that come over the loudspeaker, and he was like, "That's my sister!" Because the umpire made a bad call, and so they did the voiceover as, you know, "You jerk," of Bulma screaming. But I guess one of my favorite ones is, "Oh, death, and I don't even have any mascara on." Oh. And that's where that's where like the waterfall cry comes from. You know, that was a Barry Watson choice for me to keep that in her character, and so that one kind of rings a bell when everybody hears the "oh," because she's always whining and crying about something.
Yes.
It was a cold read. I hadn't heard anything. I just saw the one clip one time on a VHS tape, and then I went in and read for 7 different roles. And then I was told that I did very good for all of them. And I thought I wanted to be ChiChi because ChiChi's Goku's wife. And that the only thing I knew is that Goku was the main guy. I didn't realize that Bulma was the main female until we started recording Dragon Ball. And then I was pleasantly surprised I was going to be around for a while. for this, it was my first professional audition outside of college. I was just kind of going in on a whim. I ran into Chris Abbott, and he was like, hey, if you're not doing anything, you should come audition. We've got some really good roles we're still trying to cast. And I was like, yeah, all right. So I went in with my roommate at the time and read and got the part.
Awesome. Part, yes, and it was awesome. And you did so many episodes. Oh my goodness. Now, I would love to know, what are some questions that you love getting, that you love to talk about, whether it's Frieza or some of your other characters? Is there anything that stands out about your characters on Dragon Ball or another show that you have?
For me, with Frieza, it's I love arguing with Michael Tatum because he was the original writer for Dragon Ball Z Kai, and I fully swear that 99% of what is wonderful about Frieza comes from his writing.
Oh, really?
As a hardcore theater actor, everything comes from the text. And he gave me such great dialogue to work with. I mean, when you have a line like, once again, my dreams of immortality have been crushed against the shores of your incompetence, that's like Shakespeare. And he argues that it's the performance. And so we get into this little comedic argument over which really brought Frieza to life, the performance or the writing. So
I love that, because sometimes they ask questions of actors and don't think about the writing behind it. And I have had a conversation with Michael, and so hearing him talk about the writing, and then the fact that you credit him with, you know, the writing giving life to your performance, that's pretty cool. That's amazing.
I remember one time when I started ADR directing, I was working with a new writer, and he came from a theater background, and he and I were talking about character voice, and the producer goes, oh, no, the actors will do the voices when they get in there. And I turned and said, no, excuse us, we're talking about character voice. That's word choices, the way things are phrased, the way things are put. I said, it's each character. If you're a strong writer, you should be able to look at a script and say, oh, that's Vegeta. Oh, that's Frieza. Oh, that's Gohan. Just strictly based on the language and the word choices that a writer has used. And when I ADR write, that's something that I very much try to keep in mind all the time. What about you?
One of my favorite things to hear is about how any character connected to a fan or how they see themselves in the character. It allows you, for me, it gives me a greater appreciation of any show that I'm involved in, to see how it connected with another human being or how they saw themselves in anyone's performance. And I've always thought that every human in the world has at least one fact about them that if you found it out, it would blow your mind. So I'm always trying to find it out when I meet someone, like, what's gonna absolutely blow my mind about you? And that's one of the ways I always find that out, because it's amazing to see how art or animation has helped people champion themselves through life's adversities.
Absolutely.
Who am I? I'm SSJ Goshen 4. I'm a Dragon Ball collector, YouTuber, and a fan in general. Without further ado, let's bring her on here, Elise Baughman.
Hi!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So it feels weird to be interviewed versus doing the interviewing, but I can't think of a better person than you, because I love you.
How did you get the voice of Pan? How did you figure out that voice for Pan?
Oh, okay. So the voice of Pan, and I'll start off by saying, hey, it's great to be here. I'm the voice of Pan on Dragon Ball GT. Yes. So I was doing my to-do list because as an accountant, I like my little checklist. But I was also doing improv at the time. I was part of an improv troupe, and we went to dinner one night after one of the shows, and it just so happens that Mike McFarland, whom everybody will know in the Dragon Ball world, he is Dragon Ball director and the voice of Master Roshi, of course. He was in a different troupe, and so he had joined us for dinner, and they were talking about Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT at the time, which they were holding auditions for. And I said, how can I get an audition for this? So Mike was the one who told me how to get an audition. He got me the audition, and Pan was the first thing that I auditioned for. Wow. Now, what was interesting is I had gotten sick, and sometimes I leave this part of the story out. Not contagious sick. I have asthma, so about twice a year I get really bad asthma where I cough a lot. I can't breathe as well. So I'd gotten that. And so I was a little raspier than I normally am when I speak. And so when I auditioned, I kind of had probably more of a rasp to me. So when I actually booked the job, I recorded, I don't know, a couple of episodes, and I kept thinking, I'm gonna get fired because the rasp is gone. And so it took about 5 episodes where I was like, okay, so I think they're gonna keep me.
Well, guys, make sure you subscribe to Anime Adventures, you click the notification bell, comments. We love everyone who is interacting here on the live, and everyone who's watching on Anime Adventures as well. Thank you, guys.
Oh yes, hi, it's Goku. It's my granddaughter,
Grandpa. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
I'm so glad I got changed back into a kid. Job security.
Bye. See you later.
Love you guys. Mwah.